What's up guys, Ryan here from Mud Gunner, and today we are talking about my B&T GHM9. I've had this for a few years now and I've really enjoyed it, and what got me thinking about this one is I actually just carried this in my vehicle over the weekend, and yeah, I figured I'd talk to you guys about it. So what I have here is just a stock B&T GHM9. It's got some accessories on it, but internally it's all stock. And I just wanted to talk about kind of what I have this built up as. So it takes stock B&T mags. They use these mags for almost every subgun they have. They have it for the GHM9, for the APC, for the TP9. I know they have some other 9mm out now as well. B&T makes a lot of guns and a lot of suppressors. But yeah, this is just their stock magazine. But yeah, it'll fit the APC, the TP9, and the GHM9. But they also make other lowers for a variety of their guns that take SIG mags or Glock mags. But these are factory B&T mags, and I like them. I hear they're not always the greatest, but I haven't had any issues with mine. They're straight mag. They are all polymer, so like they're very light when they're unloaded and everything. They sell like rubber base pads for the bottom of them, so if you're constantly dropping them. I actually got one, I just haven't installed it on my mag yet. I probably should. I'll probably install it on this one, to be honest. But yeah, they do make rubber base pads that go on the bottom of them. And then for the hollow point mag I have here, these are Federal 147 grain HSTs. If you're going to carry any gun for self-defense, I recommend hollow points, just more effective. But yeah, 147 grain HSTs are the main hollow point I use between all my sub guns, and that is because a lot of times I'll have a suppressor on them, or even if they're unsuppressed. Like I have a MPX in here and I still run the 147 grains, and I test in all my guns. So basically, when I get a new gun, I'll break it in with like 500 or so rounds of ammo, which is not like a big break-in period. Some people shoot thousands of rounds through their guns. But then I'll also run a few mags worth of hollow points, and that's running drills. Running multiple full magazines. It's about 2 or 3. And I know that can be expensive on ammo, but I think if you're going to use a gun for self-defense, it's very important to test the ammo that you use, because you don't want it to jam up your gun. So 147 grain HST, at least in my experience, has worked throughout all my subguns, but I mean, it could vary between guns. But yeah, so GHM9, as far as what we have on it, so it's got the factory brace, which is like a tail hook brace, Gearhead Works. So it's a Gearhead Works tail hook brace, and it's nice, it's metal. I don't even open this, but you can open it if you need to. It's got a little button here to unlock it. Very solid. So it's got 2 metal bars that run along the side of it, and it is extremely solid. I mean, this is more solid than most stocks that come on guns. So extremely solid, I enjoy it. You can also buy like side folders and stuff for them, but yeah, this is how mine came. It's got the factory flip-up sights on there, and I really don't use these. They're not like a push button. You just manually pull them up and push them down. So I have those on there. And then optic-wise, I'm running a Trijicon RMR, and my optic setup's a little different, but I am running it on a ScalarWorks mount. And at first, I had it just the ScalarWorks mount for the RMR. I'm like, oh, that'll look good on there. But what I didn't realize about the GHM9, and this could be true with the other B&T products as well, the rail section, like the Picatinny rail section on here, is much lower profile to the gun itself than most guns. So what that means is this little tightening knob on the side of the ScalarWorks mount, it was digging into the receiver. You could not tighten it. So I didn't realize that about these. So when you're putting stuff on a GHM9 and maybe some other B&T products, these rails are much lower profile, so not everything fits. Even with my light here, which this is a Surefire light, this knob, the twist knob to tighten it, it's kind of rubbed into the receiver a little bit. And I mean, it is what it is. I was able to tighten it, but it definitely rubbed the receiver, so I've just left it on there, which kind of sucks. But I think they do that just to keep everything low profile, so I understand, but just know that not every mounting system will work on this. So I had the RMR already set up with that mount, and that's what I wanted to run on here. So what I did was I just put this Unity mount on there as a riser, and it worked out. I wasn't planning on using a riser for this gun, but I basically had to because this ScalarWorks mount would not work. So yeah, the Unity mount just has 2 screws right here, mounts it no problem, and then honestly, it looks pretty good. So looking through there, it's not bad. I can't really use my iron sights anymore, so I mean there's that. But I wanted this RMR on there to keep it a low profile gun, and it looks really good in my opinion. So I like it. Charging handle wise, it's just on the left side here. It's not going to hit anything. And then you're probably wondering what's under this. So I got this suppressor wrap at my store. I don't know who makes it. It's just a used one that came through. It's also got like flakes coming off it. But yeah, I don't know who makes this. I also don't know if it's the greatest thing to run on here. I just threw it on there because, again, I brought this in my car on Sunday, and the reason why I did that is I went out with my buddy. We went to the desert to go look for snakes, and if you're not familiar with that is, we basically just drive out on remote roads, middle of nowhere, also in the desert. And I'm a reptile person. I own rattlesnakes as pets, and we just go out looking for snakes. We didn't find any, unfortunately, but when you go out to remote places, I normally bring extra firepower because you're in the middle of nowhere. No one's coming to help you. You may not even have service, so I normally bring extra. So what I do was I always have my backpack, which this has medical in there. It has my SIG MPX, which I'll show you guys in a sec. But I also wanted something a little bit quicker to grab out that's suppressed, because my MPX is not suppressed. So I just went on my safe, and this is to the point where like I can look and see what I have that I want to bring out. So I have a few different guns set up that would work for this, but I was like, you know what, I'll just keep it with 9mm tonight. My buddy brought his AR, and he had that in a rifle case in the trunk. So I mean, we had plenty of guns, and I carry a pistol, he carries a pistol. But, and again, this is just, you know, we're gun guys. It's fun. It's what we do. It's not like because we're paranoid. It's just, it's enjoyable to us. So, but yeah, I brought this out, and my plan for this is when you're driving. And I'm not the only person that's thought of this. There's no way I am. I will sometimes keep a gun right at my leg next to the gas pedal. And it's not in the way of the gas pedal, but it just sits right between my center console and my seat. And I mean, this just sits nicely, especially with the mag in there. Well, I'll put the empty one in. So with the empty mag in there, and then with this cover on there, that way I'm not just like pushing my suppressor up against the car trim. This was nice because there's a little bit of space. There's like an 1.5 inches of space between the suppressor and the end of this. So I mean, this was just kind of like pressed basically like this. So while I was driving, just like that. And yeah, no issues there. And I mean, if that's weird to you guys, I get it to a degree. Like not everyone is into guns as me, but I know there's a lot of you guys that are probably like-minded as me. But yeah, I grabbed this because one, I was like, you know, chances are if you need anything, I mean, I feel comfortable enough with this. It's quiet. If let's say I had to shoot from my vehicle, which this is like movie scenario, this is not like realistic, but if I had to, you need to be able to maneuver it in a car in a 5.56 rifle, and I have like short 10-inch 5.56 rifles. That'd be a little bulky in a car. Where this, I mean, I could basically drive, pull this out, and this would be right on the steering wheel, and it weighs nothing. So this is not me trying to tell you tactics or anything. This is just like what goes through my mind sometimes. But yeah, and we're off-roading, so again, if anything happens, like Arizona is known for, you know, border crossings and people get attacked. So yeah, I'd rather be safe than sorry. But besides explaining myself, I mean, it's just a cool gun, and guns are my lifestyle. I bring them with me every day to work, and I just enjoy playing with guns. So I always like having guns with me. But yeah, I think this is a good setup for it because one, it's lightweight. Two, it's suppressed. Oh, I didn't even talk about my suppressor. This is a CGS Kraken subcompact suppressor. It was called the Kraken when they came out. This was a partnership between CGS and Zev. Or a collaboration. So it is called the Kraken. That's the model of the Kraken subcompact. I have the full-size Kraken right here as well. I bought both of them when they came out, but now they are called the CGS Mod 9. As far as I know, it's the exact same suppressor, but you have the Mod 9 or the Mod 9 SK. It's just I have the Kraken and the Kraken SK. And they're very nice. They're a relatively affordable can. I think they both are around $500 right now. If you can find them, they might be hard to get at the moment because suppressor wait times are 2 days, 2 to 5 days. I mean, that's what almost all of ours are coming back in at our shop. But yeah, I mean, they were a pretty affordable suppressor. I mean, at the time, they were in like the $400 range. And at the time, there wasn't really modular cans. So there are some cans where they come in the long configuration and you unscrew a part and now it's short. This wasn't really a thing at that time, but they came shortly after. So I bought both of these, so I had both options. And then what's also nice with the Kraken or the Mod 9 is you can buy a tri-lug mount for them. And that's what's also nice about these B&Ts is they come set up for a tri-lug mount or a direct thread mount. And tri-lug is when it has these notches on the side of the barrel and it literally just pushes down, twists, and it locks in place because there's some spring tension. Or you have the option of unscrewing this cap and then it's just threaded 1/2x28. So this one I could just screw right on there, or this one I could pop on. Now the difference between tri-lug versus direct thread, one, this is quick detach, so this just pops on and it's ready to go. You don't have to screw it on. So that's nice that it's quick and easy. It also gets it closer to the gun because this puts it right about here, where if you direct thread something, it puts it right about there. So it pushes it further away from the gun. It does not look as clean. So, and then as far as mounts goes, again, this is direct thread, this is tri-lug. I have both for both suppressors. So I have the option to run both of them tri-lug or both of them direct thread or vice versa. So it's just you're buying this piece, which is the tri-lug mount, and this is the piece that came with it, which is the direct thread mount. So this is your piston right here. That's a piston. It just threads onto your suppressor or your gun, or it is in your suppressor, it threads onto your gun. You got the spring that allows pistols to cycle, but you don't want to run a spring on a subgun or a fixed barrel platform because what happens is every time you shoot, that spring compresses and it'll shoot your can forward and backward every time you shoot on a fixed barrel gun. And fixed barrel just means that barrel does not move. But on a pistol, your barrel is moving to allow the gun to cycle, so you need that spring in order for it to cycle. This might sound like a lot of words, but yeah, so springs are for pistols, and for fixed barrel guns, you either need a metal spacer, which is just like a metal sleeve instead of the spring, or, like I said, I like to run these tri-lug mounts because then it's literally just quick detach. I just put this on anywhere, it just pops in, push down and twist, and now it's not going anywhere. There's a little bit of like side to side like play, like a little bit of rotation, but it's never been an issue. I also run this on my CZ Scorpion with a binary trigger, and even shooting that thing binary, I've never had a baffle strike on it. CZ Scorpion. I've never had any issues. So tri-lug mounts for me have been very good so far. I've heard of people having issues on certain guns, but these are my main two tri-lug cans and I've never had an issue. So, but I also like that I have the option of short or long. And honestly, the short configuration is good enough for me. I'll show you a quick clip with the long suppressor on here with 147 grain subsonic ammo. It's extremely quiet. GHM9. Now steel. So yeah, this thing is quiet with the right ammo and the right suppressor, but with this short can, it's still gonna be pretty quiet or quiet enough. Again, if I'm driving and something bad happens and I need to shoot this inside my car, which I hope I don't ever have to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's small enough that I can get it up without getting hit in my car. And then if I had to shoot it, again, this is movie scenario, video game scenario, this is not realistic, but if I had to drive and put this over the steering wheel and pull the trigger a couple times, I mean, it's not gonna do anything. So that's just my mindset with stuff. I want it to be, you know, if that movie scenario happens, I want it to be doable. And that's one thing that movies don't always get right, is they don't make it realistic. And I mean, this isn't realistic anyways, but at least I thought it through. So I get an E for effort. But yeah, this little suppressor cover on there, I haven't shot with this on there yet. I just got it like a week or so ago. But I just threw it on there. It looks cool. I mean, it looks like a video game gun at that point. So these suppressor wraps are to prevent heat from like burning your hand. It can also, I guess, mitigate a little bit of flash if it comes out of here because, also there's like a sleeve in here. This is like a hot pocket. So it can change the heat. So if you're running a bolt gun, it prevents a little bit of heat mirage, which is fine for a bolt gun. On a semi-auto gun though, it also contains the heat. So it's gonna heat up your suppressor much faster, which is not always great. But for a self-defense purpose, I mean, it's not gonna do any damage to the suppressor. And then they also fall off on a lot of guns. So depending on how much you shoot it, I mean, they slide on and you can tighten them as much as you want. This one I could probably tighten a little bit more and it'll hold on a little bit better. But I have one that I ran on a 7.62 can on a 5.56 and it just kept sliding off. So they're not always the greatest, but yeah. Oh, I guess that's pretty tight on here now. But yeah, so I mean, I thought this was kind of a cool little vehicle gun. And I mean, it's a great gun to shoot in general. B&T makes amazing stuff. This is my only gun from them, but I would love to own a bunch of their guns, a bunch of their suppressors. At some point, I'd like to have their whole 9mm lineup, the APC9, the TP9. I want them all to take this magazine too, just because I already have magazines, and then it makes it very universal. I'm not a fan of Glock mags or SIG mags for subgun mags. But the only subgun SIG I like is this one. And then again, I had this with me because I also have my medical in here, so it's just easy to throw this whole bag in my car. But this is much slower to draw, and then it doesn't have a suppressor on there. So if I want, I mean, this would be perfect for, you know, right there as well, but I wanted something with a suppressor on it. And this one's chambered, but also running 147 grain HSTs, and then the 20 round mag for this is pretty big. I mean, that's 20 rounds versus 30 rounds, but I have a 30 round mag as well. They're curved. So, but the 20 round works good for the backpack. And then I also keep 2 of them in there. So, but yeah, just wanted to talk about the B&T GHM9. As far as like what subgun's the best, I like a bunch of them. So I have the MP5, the MPX, the GHM9. Those ones are probably my top 3. I also really like the Scorpion. Scorpion has a little bit more like felt recoil than these ones, which it's 9mm, so it's not much. But Scorpion was always the most affordable and like most upgradable one for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of upgrades you can do to this stuff now, but yeah, if you guys want a B&T product and don't want to spend APC money, because the APC was also like $800 more than this. Recently, we've been getting some used ones a little bit cheaper. Like we just sold a used one at our store for like 1,300 bucks, and they were expensive guns. But yeah, for a while you were able to find these for around the $1,000 range, or 1,000 to 12 with the brace, because these braces get expensive. But I haven't seen any used ones of these come through recently. Our last one was without a brace, and it sold for like $900 in our store. But I got this one years ago, and I've just been really happy with it so far. So yeah, just wanted to talk to you guys about that. If you didn't know, I'm big into guns, so I set up a variety of guns for lots of different purposes, and I probably think about every scenario in my head. So yeah, I just like bringing guns to life, and I try to make them practical. So I don't have a sling on this one, that's another thing. But if I were to run a sling, I would probably run a sling from the bottom here, so quick detach point off to the side, to maybe the brace back here. Because then it's at least, you know, compact. But a lot of my subguns I don't run braces, or a lot of my subguns I don't run slings, because they're either for like a backpack or just like that. Like I said, I would just shove it in between my seat and it's ready to go. So, but yeah, I like it the way it is. There's a lot of cool GHM9 stuff. Someone recently showed me that you can do a like a over the suppressor rail on here and make it kind of like an SD, which is cool. But I also like the way mine looks a lot. It looks pretty clean with this. Dude, every time I take this off, it has so much fuzz coming off it. But yeah, I think it also looks pretty sick just like this. And I think I kept it pretty simple. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for my next video.